Hey there everybody and welcome. It's Jackie here from stampingjack.com. It is Wednesday the 12th of January and it is time for another Facebook Live. This week I'm going to have a play around with some of our gorgeous new designer series papers. I've got some sort of go-to layouts that I use when I'm using DSP, so we're going to have some fun with that. I'm just going to quickly check my setup, make sure that I'm coming through loud and clear. When you arrive, just leave me a comment below so I know you're here. Hopefully I'll be able to see them this week. If you're watching the replay on YouTube, then please give me a thumbs up or share the video if you can. So let me just double check that we are live. I think we are. Every week Facebook gives me a new technical challenge, so let's see what this week is or whether it'll actually work for us. So whilst we get going, just to remind you that this Saturday, the 15th of January, is my virtual launch party. So that's my usual, there's a day full of activities to celebrate the launch of the new Spring Summer catalogue, which I had, but I can't find now. It's here somewhere. So as usual, it'll be a day with, there'll be lots of fun and games. There'll be live crafting sessions, prizes, and then at the end of the night there will be the usual bingo night, which is always a bit of fun. So keep an eye on the page here because I will be posting up more and more details as the time gets closer. Some of you or all of you should have received your catalogues by now. They were sent out last week. If you don't have a demonstrator and you would like a copy of the catalogue, or you've not received a copy, you were expecting a copy from me and you've not received it, then please just give me a message, let me know, and I'll sort that out for you. So let's just, what other news have we got for you? Hi Diane, welcome. So it seems that I can't see comments on my phone, so I'll have to keep an eye on them on my computer. I really must figure out how to do that. So as usual with a new catalogue, I do a paper share. So I thought tonight I would have a play with some of our papers. Hi Sue, welcome. Diane, when you say not me, does that mean you haven't got a catalogue? I've definitely sent you one. Oh dear. Sorry guys, I'm just checking. It seems to have frozen on my computer, so I don't know if that's my computer or me. So let's just see. Okay, so Diane, you haven't received it yet, but you will do. It's definitely on its way to you. I sent them last week, so if you haven't gotten it by the end of the week, let me know and I'll send you another one. So yes, as always, I will be doing a paper share. So in the new Spring Summer catalogue, there are 9, I want to say 9, new papers. And what you can do is, for just £25, you can get a quarter pack of each of the new papers, and for that you get free postage and also a quarter pack for free of our fabulous new printed vellum. Okay, so what I do is I take the 12 by 12 sheets and I cut them down to 6 by 6. So I think in total you get something like 96 6 by 6 sheets, all except for the Abstract Beauty cards, which come as 6 by 4. So you'll just get a quarter pack of these as they come like this. So what I thought I'd do tonight is I would, as I said, I like stamping and I don't use paper, designer series paper, on my cards all that much, as those of you who are regulars will know. But when I do, there are a couple of sort of standard layouts that I use when I'm doing it, and I did a little bit where I just kind of, see my drawing, I'm very artistic, where I just sketched out some of my favourite layouts, and so I'm just going to go through some of those with you tonight, just to give you some ideas just about sort of standard things that you can do with your designer series paper without really having to think about it all that much, because if you guys are anything like me, we buy the paper because it's beautiful, and then it kind of sits in our drawer, we never quite get around to using it. So this is, and sometimes it's because we're not sure what to do with it exactly. So these are just some go-to ideas for you that will work for pretty much any kind of designer series paper, any kind of patterned paper. Now, what makes it easy when you're doing Stampin' Up is, as I've said before, is the coordination. So the papers, the colours that are in the papers are the colours that are in the cardstock, in the same colours as the ink, which are the same colours as the ribbon and the embellishment. So it's really easy to get a very pulled together look by coordinating your colours. So each paper pack, I'll show you this one. So on the back of it, it will tell you the colours that are included in that. So if you want to match, then these are the colours that you can use. Obviously, you're not limited to those. You can use any colours that you like, but it at least gives you a guide for what you want to see. Now, oh dear, apologies folks, I'm trying to do this so that we can, here we go. I want to be able to see the comments, and I appear to be offline on my laptop, so just bear with me while I try and sort myself out. Okay, the internet connection's been restored. Let's see the comments. Okay, right, so let's try and keep an eye on things. Right, so let's get going, because I have quite a few different ideas for you. But as I say, don't forget that this Saturday, the 15th of January, is the catalogue launch party, and there'll be lots of stuff there. I've got some great projects planned for you, and as I say, lots and lots of different prizes. So I'm going to start with my absolute go-to layout when I'm doing designer series paper, and that is a strip down the side. This is just so easy to do. So this is and again, the measurements are not exact. You can adjust this to whatever you like, but I tend to go for a 5 centimeter strip. So it's a little bit less than half, so that's 10.5 centimeters wide there. So it's a little bit less than half, and it's the full length of the card front, so it's 14.5 centimeters. Now you could just do it like this. So this is a smoky slate card base, but I've just got a whisper white layer here. And those of you who've known me for a while will be very familiar with this layout. I use it all the time. Now this paper is from to get the names, this is the Good Fortune designer series paper. And this is really, it's quite unusual actually. Normally with grey and white I would put silver, but we've got gold with it instead. So we've got gold detail on one side and then plain or not gold on the other. Some nice floral patterns. This is beautiful. So some really lovely patterns. And when I've got a paper like this, I like to let the paper do the talking. Let the paper do the legwork for you, because it is beautiful. So if I've got something like this, I tend to keep it really simple, so that what you're really seeing is the paper. You let that shine. Okay, and then I've just die cut a scalloped circle and then just a layering circle inside. Okay, so let's just get this started. Let's see if my glue will behave for me tonight. Oh yeah, not so bad. Okay, so all I've done is I've cut my white strip just a 0.5 centimeter wider. Again, you can adjust that. You can do it without a layer behind or with a bigger layer behind. This is just somewhere to start. Okay, and then I tend to leave a gap of about 1 centimeter on that side, so it's offset. Okay, And then I'm going to stamp in some smoky slate. And I'm using the Special Moments stamp set. So this is a free celebration item. This is free with a £90 purchase. It's one of the level 2 rewards. But it's got 21 different sentiments in it. And it's got a really nice selection. So I'm going to do the Where Would I Be Without a Friend Like You? Okay. And then I'm just going to stamp that on my circle. So this is one of my stitch circles, but you can use any circle, die or punch that you have. And again, this doesn't have to be a circle, depending on the sentiment or the embellishment that you have. You could do any shape that you like. Okay, so there we go. It looks, I think my smoky slate ink pad needs to be re-inked, so I shall remember to do that after. So we're just going to stick that down on there. Okay, and then we're going to pop that up. So I'm going to grab some dimensionals. Okay, now you can leave it like that, or you can embellish more, and I'm going to embellish more. I'm going to grab this is our gold metallic thread. Okay, so again I'm going to do my usual, which is just kind of a zigzag. So I'm just going to put down some snail, and then we can just lay this down however we want till we're happy with it. I want it to go that way a bit more. Cool. And there we go. Really, really simple, easy layout to do. And as I say, these are just guides. You can adjust any of these bits that you want. It's just somewhere to start. And as I say, you could add an embellishment here. You could add a flower or something. You could add some more rhinestones or whatever. But I'm just keeping it fairly simple because the main thing I want to do is just show you the layout. Okay, so that's layout number 1. Okay, the next one is really, as I say, for me, when I'm using my paper, I want to make sure that it's the paper that does the talking, because I can achieve lots of effects with my stamps, and I do tend to use my stamps to do backgrounds. So for this one, what I've got, so this very masculine and grungy looking, but actually it's from our tulips paper pack. Which is this one here. So you can see it's got lots of florals in it. And again, this is just something to bear in mind with our papers, is that very often the back side, for me anyway, I love, look at these kind of backgrounds here, very, very different feel to them to something like this. So this, you'd look at this paper and you think it was all about the florals, all very feminine. But actually there's plenty in here that you could use to make a very masculine card. So that's what I'm going to do. Okay, and what I'm going to do is basically just, I've cut, this is my standard card base, which is 21 centimeters by 14.5, and then I have cut my paper to be 10.5 by 14.5. So it's just the entire front of the card. Now again, you can cut it down a little bit so that you've got a border, but I'm going to just do the whole lot, and then I've got a piece for inside. And then I'm going to take my Slim Sayings stamp set, and again, I love this stamp. I think it's great, and I'm going to do some heat embossing with this. So I've just got my scraps of black cardstock here. See if I can grab a smaller one. Perfect. Okay. So we've got our Versamark, and I need my scrap paper. There we go. So, very important first step is to use our embossing buddy to get rid of any static on our card, and then we'll ink up with our Versamark. Okay, and I was going to emboss this on gold, but I think I'm going to use white. So I want it to pop. So here's my white embossing powder. Okay. Let's put our embossing powder back in. Okay, if you've left me a comment and I haven't responded, I apologise. I don't seem to be able to see them very well, but periodically I will just refresh my screen and see what's come up, and hopefully I can answer you as we go. Okay, so let's grab our heat tool. So just let it heat up before we bring it to our paper. This is quite a small piece, so I'm just going to hold it in place with my take your pick tool so I don't burn my fingers. Okay, there we go. Yes, I can see some more comments have come through, so let me just do those while I wait for that to cool down a little. Okay. Really must sort out my, I think the problem is actually my laptop. It's just incredibly slow. I don't think it's my connection. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut apart my sentiments. So I'm just going to trim really closely to each word. And this is a really good sentiment for this because the letters are quite blocky. So it's easy to use the letters themselves as your cutting guide. Yeah, make sure I don't lose the A. That's exactly the kind of thing that would go missing on my table. So if I lose it, ladies, you let me know where it is. Although, in current performance, I wouldn't be able to see your comments anyway. Okay, so let's move those out of the way. And then we can bring back in our card. So you can see really, really feminine pattern on this side, but we're going for a much more masculine, grungy sort of a look. Okay. Okay, and then I like, as I say, you all know, I prefer wet glue is my glue of choice, but certainly when I'm doing something like this, I like to, wet glue is the best. And then to make sure that you've got it even, I don't know if you can see what I'm doing, but I'm just using my desk as the base to make sure that I've got it where I want it. Okay. So there we go, and then I'm going to bring in my black dimensionals. So I like using these black ones on the back of stuff like this because then they don't show up at the back of your sentiment. Okay, so you are one of a kind. Okay, but before we do that, I'm going to add some splatters to that. And for that, I'm going to grab So this is the Daffodil Daydream, the new stamp set. Now lots of our stamp sets have these splatters in them, so there's plenty of options for that. And I'm just going to use some Memento. There. All right. So I'm deliberately putting them not perfectly lined up, just to create that bit of interest on our card. And of course it helps that we've got the grid on here. And then for embellishment, I'm going to grab our matte black dots. I think those will be perfect. Yep. Yeah. And then I've also got some black baker's twine. So I'm just going to wrap a little bit of that around the side here. So what I've done here is I've got a reasonably plain piece of designer series paper and used a bold sentiment on it. If you had a really busy patterned piece of paper, then I would choose a less bold sentiment so that your sentiment and your paper are not competing with one another for primacy on your card. So let's just get our bow the way we want it. Make it a bit smaller. Okay, and then on the inside piece, just do a little bit more stamping. So grab this and our memento, which I put somewhere. Here it is. So what I'm going to do is just do some stamping off here in the corner, and then we'll do that on the inside. Alright, now where did I put the card? There it is. So there you go. Here's our second card where we just let the paper do the talking again and just use it as a background. So that's card number 2. I'm still trying hard in between things to try and be able to see your comments, because I can see that there are comments, I just can't see what they are. So if I don't get to them by the end, I will definitely come back afterwards and answer them. So if you've got any questions or anything you want to know, then do let me know. Leave me a comment. Okay, so next layout is what one will I do next? So the next one is where we just, it's again just taking a strip. So we've got a piece of evening evergreen. So this is best done with a pattern that needs continuity through it, because we're going to link these together. So this is from the Artfully Composed Designer Series paper. So I've got an evening evergreen card base, and then I have a strip here which is 13 centimeters by 6. So again, it's entirely up to you exactly what these measurements are, but what I like to do is to cut a let me think now, a 4 centimeters, 5 centimeters, no, so 4, and then 4 centimeters off this side. Okay, so we've got 2, 3. Okay, so you can see that you've got to be careful that it matters which way around you put these, because obviously you don't want them random. We want it to look like they are following each other. Okay, and then I have a sentiment strip here, so I'm going to do a thank you using the Artfully Layered stamp set. So this is the stamp set that coordinates with this paper. Okay, so I've just got a strip of Whisper White, and I'm going to ink my sentiment up in Just Jade, which is another one of the colours in here. I do like the colours in this paper. Oop, that didn't work, so let's try that again. See if I can get it straight. Yeah, that's better. And then what I'm going to do is scrap, and I'm just going to take this sort of leafy image here, and I'm going to ink that up in, whoops, in soft succulent. I'm going to stamp off and just do that at the back, and then trim that down. Okay, so coming back to our card. Now we have a choice. We can either put down a layer of white and then put our pieces on there like so, or we can put it straight onto our card base. And I think that I am going to do it straight onto the card base. So, as I say, ordinarily I would ask you guys what you wanted, but this is just, I've completely lost visibility now. Oh dear, oh dear, oh dear. Can't see a thing. I don't know why your comments are not on my phone screen. Oops, excuse me. I'm just trying to see if I can. Ah, here we are. Yay, 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 yay. Whoopee. Now I can see you. Hi, Kat. Thanks for sharing, Lynn. Hi, Mary. Hi, Jewel. Welcome. And Diane likes the splatter. Good. Right. Now I can ignore my laptop. I can see your comments now. So hopefully we'll be good. Okay. So you can either glue them down or pop them up. But what I'm going to do is, oh no, that's my gunky one. Now you can also do this using 3 different pieces of paper, or you could do it using an image that you've stamped that you then cut up. It's entirely up to you, but this is a great way to use your, I find this is good for that larger patterned paper. Now what I like to do, again using my glue, is to just, I haven't pressed these down yet, I've just put them in place. So that way I can adjust to make sure that I've got the right gaps that I want between them and that they are straight. Is that straight? No, it's not straight, is it? Go. Okay, and then I've decided that I don't like that. That's too busy. So, because we've got the pattern as well. So let me do that again. And I think I'm actually going to stamp it in Evening Evergreen so that it stands out that little bit more. So, stamp that up. Yes, that looks better. And then I think, well, bear with me 1 second. Ink. We'll do a little bit of die cutting to go with this. So we've got these leaves in here. So I think I'm going to, if I do, let's try this one. Yep. So I'm just going to take a scrap of vellum. Let's try this one is better. Forgive all the rustling. And then I'm just going to bring in my mini embossing machine, just run that through. So another trick when using highly patterned designer series paper is sometimes, like that, as you just saw, the sentiment can kind of get a bit lost. So the general rule is that if your paper is busy, then everything else kind of needs to be calm and clean, so they don't compete with one another. But sometimes things can get a bit lost against a really busy pattern. So what you can do is you can create a layer. But sometimes that's a bit too much and it hides the pattern that you want to show off. So a really good way of addressing that is by using vellum. Okay, so let's just pop this out. So I've chosen this one because it doesn't take a lot of space. So it won't cover up too much, but it will just provide that bit of a break to allow our sentiment panel to show. So if we pop that there, and we do our thank you there. And I think what I'm also going to do is go out a little bit of evening evergreen ribbon here, and again this is kind of see-through. I'm just going to add it behind our sentiment like that, just to help provide that little bit of contrast. So this is going to get popped up. Okay. We're going to do our usual trick when we're layering up stuff like this, and we're just going to put some snail down like so, and then a little bit more. There we go. And then for our inside, let's do a quick bit of stamping. So we'll take this lovely big leaf image, okay, and we'll ink that up with our soft succulent. Okay, and then I'm going to stamp off, and then just put that, making sure that our card is going that way, so I better put it this way on our inside. There again. There we go. Okay, and then we'll just pop that inside. So how are we doing time-wise? Good, because I've got quite a lot of projects for you. I've got more than the usual 3 or 4 that I do. So I'm hoping that you're finding these layouts helpful. And as I say, you can use them with any papers. They're just standard go-to layouts that I use because, you know, I don't like to have to think too much about this stuff. Okay, so that's card number 3. So where should we go next? So I think for our next card, yeah. So for this card, I normally use circles for this particular layout, but I thought just for change I'm going to use some hexagons. So this paper is from this one here, which is the Hey Sports Fan paper. So again, you can see that, you know, on one side it's very kind of baseball, which in the UK doesn't really have that much application. But there are quite a few patterns on the back, which are really, really nice. And one of my favorites actually is, I really like this. I think if you were to cut that, it'd be very wasteful of your paper. But if you were to cut it like that, you'd get a great sunburst card. But the other thing I like about this is that it uses very vanilla as its base, which we don't get very much in our paper, so it's kind of nice. So what I want to do is grab our hexagons, okay, like so. And first things first is I want the big one to be my sentiment, so I'm just going to see what will fit. So happy birthday fit. Happy. It might just about fit, so let's try that and see. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut the other papers, a selection in different sizes. So I'm just going to trim my pieces down so that I can run them through my a bit of a boo-boo there. Okay, this should work. Yep. What I'm going to do is just cut. I had 3. One, two, there's the third one. I knew I had 3. Okay, so this is a 6 centimeter strip. So I'm going to cut the same with this one. And then we've got our solid. Okay. Bring back in my machine. What you should be able to do, so bear with me on this, is we should be able to run all of them through in one go each time. And I'm going to do them pointing with the pointy bit in, because that makes it easier for, certainly on the big one, it makes it easier for the machine to take it in, so it's not a straight line going in first. So when you're putting your dies in, it's best to put them in at a bit of an angle, or without the straightest bit being the first bit through the machine, if possible. Okay, that's one. Now I won't use all of these, but I can keep them for using on another card. Is that my scarf getting in the picture there? I do apologise. Bring this over this side so I can see what I'm doing. And finally, I've got a bit of blue. I don't know if this is Night of Navy or Misty Moonlight, It looks a bit like Misty Moonlight to me. So with this particular layer, as I say, you can use circles, work really, really well. But I thought just for change, as I have hexagons, I thought I would use them. But what you want is a mix of quite solid and patterned as well. So you could also include pieces of just plain cardstock in coordinating colours. Okay, so that's that. So now let's do our stamping. So I think let's do real red, and Misty Moonlight, because I think that is the colour. So let's do our happy in real red. Whoop. My stamp is not very sticky on the back because it's dirty, so I'm just cleaning the back of my stamp, and in the process I've managed to get a splatter on my hand, so bear with me. Okay, there we go. Right, let's try this again. Happy, and then birthday. Let's hope that this fits inside. If not, we'll just do a different sentiment. Okay, and I think we should be okay. There we go. Back in our machine and just run this through. So this is also a really good way to use up scraps on your cards. There we go. Okie dokie. So now let's bring in our pieces. We just play around with them. Okay, so we've got our card base here. So we start with our main sentiment in the front. Okay, and then all we do is just layer. Go. Okay. I'm going to add something to this bit. Now, the other thing we could do is no, a red and white is not what I want. I'm just looking to see. No. I thought I had some red twine. I think that would look quite good, but we can do something with that. So I've got here the Resin Stars embellishments which coordinates with this paper. So I'm just going to grab these. So we'll take the yellow, red, and blue, and add those there. Down very slightly. Okay, and then I'm just going to glue these in. So you can see that I'm not gluing them down hard, so to speak, because I want to leave room to arrange them. Pop this one up. There we go. Okie dokie. So that's just taking a circle or another shape and just cutting different sizes in different patterns. It's a great way to use up our scraps. So then the next one, again, kind of using up scraps, is... Where'd it go? Where'd it go? Where'd it go? Is it here? Yes. Circle die cut for that. Here we go. Like so. So I'm going to start with a Whisper White card base. Kat says the hexagon dies are growing on her. Yeah, as I say, they're just fun. There's something a little bit different to yes, there's something a little bit different to circles, and again, great for masculine cards. So now this one, what I'm going to do is I'm going to use some strips, and this is one of the Abstract Beauty papers. So this is this pack of all these gorgeous brightly coloured papers with gold detail on them, and then plain at the back. I love the colours and patterns in here. So normally what I'd do for this is I'd use lots of different scraps, but because this pattern is quite variegated, shall we say, I think it will work. So what I'm going to do is to cut 2 centimetre strips, so just a number of them. And again, your strips don't have to be all the same size, all the same width. It just helps. And like that, they don't need to be the same sheet. They don't even need to be the same paper pack. It could be anything. I'm just using this piece just as an example, and then let's see, I have a couple of other scraps here that I might add in. No, I'll leave it at that for the moment. Okay, so again, from the point of view of it's a circular sentiment, and then we've got our different pieces. Okay, and then what I'm going to do is just trim these to different sizes. And now comes the hard bit of making it look random. So I'm trying to arrange these so they don't look like they're just pieces of the same, or that they're got a continuous pattern. Okay. Make this one short. And actually, I think for this one, 3 strips should be enough. So let's cut this one down. There we go. Okay, and then let's see, what shall we... yeah, we'll just do a simple hello and keep it. And then I think we'll do, in terms of colour, let's do basic grey. Use a bit of this, and I think we'll do a bit of splatter, so we'll bring back in that stamp, and I think we'll do a splatter in, let's do balmy blue. Just here. And then let's add in some smoky slate. Because that'd be nice and... Actually, no. Yes, smoky slate. Let's see how that looks. Yes, that works. And actually I think, let's try the gold. I have a feeling I might prefer white, but we'll go with gold. Okay, so we're just going to glue our strips down. See if I can get them on straight. Now again, with this layout, you could put them all at an angle, depending on the size of your sentiment. You could make them, you could make it bigger or smaller. It's entirely up to you. It's just, to say, a rough guide for a layout. Okay, so then we'll bring in our snail. Close up my ink pad first before I have an accident. I'm just going to bring the snail in here and then do our favourite zigzag. Need a longer piece. It's a bit stingy with that one. Okie doke. Yeah, that's better. Yeah, and then to finish it off, let's use our brushed metallic adhesive dots. There's a mouthful. And just add a few. Excellent. So there we have it. So I have, as I say, I have a whole host of sort of standard layouts that I use with designer series paper, but I just wanted to share a few of those with you tonight, some of my favorites, just to give you ideas of how to use your designer series paper without having to think about it very much. So let's bring them back in. And then it's time for you guys to vote. So let me bring your comments back up. Excuse my fingers. Okay, so we have card number 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. So these are all using papers that are included in the paper share that I'm doing. So in case you missed it at the beginning, or because we've got a new catalogue, you can get a quarter share of each one of the new designer series papers in the spring catalogue. So it's £25, includes a quarter pack of each of the 9 papers, plus you get postage for free and you get a free quarter pack of our vellum. So there we go. And as I mentioned, don't forget this Saturday. This Saturday is the virtual launch party, so join me. I'll be here from 10 in the morning till whatever time at night, just crafting with you, and we've got some of the usual quizzes and prizes. So let's see now, we've got some votes coming in. Kat says 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Mary says 3, 2, 5, 4, 1. Sue says they're all great. Diane says 1, 2, 5, 3, 4. So good mix. So I'm glad you enjoyed them. As I said, what I suggest you do is, on the basis of tonight, is that you just do like I've got in my notebook here. I'm sure your drawing is much better than mine. Is to just sketch out what your layouts are, so that when you want to use your paper, you can just go to those and you don't really have to think about it that much. So it cuts down the time you spend thinking, what am I going to make and how am I going to make it? So I hope you enjoyed tonight. Thank you for joining me. I've enjoyed it as always. Hope I've helped inspire you and give you some ideas about how to use paper. And I look forward to seeing you all at some point on Saturday for our catalogue launch party. Bye.